What's up, guys? It's your boy Malcolm Eugene, and technically, I'm a supervillain. Hopefully, everybody's been doing well during this lockdown that we have going on, but I want to give you guys 10 tips today, editing tips for beginners. But first, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel so you keep updated on future tutorials and videos that I'm going to be putting up here in the future. So let's hop on the computer and get into tip number one. All right, so tip number one, I have Premiere Pro open here, and don't mind my mess here. I do have a project that I am working on. When you're opening up Premiere for the very first time, what you want to establish first is you want to set up your main sequence. Basically, go to your sequence settings, and this is where you're going to be able to customize your sequence. If you're shooting or if you want your final product to be in 24 frames per second, make sure it is set there. Of course, whatever your resolution output you want it to be, make sure it's set there. And of course, everything else, just make sure you have your project set up here first. Hit OK there. Mine, I'm going to export this project out at 24 frames per second in 1080p. So the next tip I'm going to give you actually is going to be to organize your footage. So here, I'm going to show you kind of how I organize my footage when I'm shooting an event. If it's a multiple day event, I'll do like a day 1, day 2, day 3. And I'll show you my file structure for that. So here in day 1, I usually shoot videos and photos. If I'm doing a time lapse, I'll make sure all my time lapse photos are in a particular folder. And then of course all my photos are in one. And then my video folders are set up into their different resolutions and even broken down into their different frame rates. So it makes it easier when organizing the clips in Premiere Pro. Clicking in here, 4K 24 frames per second. I have it separated into day and night as well. It does help out with keeping things completely organized. When all your footage is organized in these formats, you go to Premiere Pro. Let's go to our project panel here. You can make different bins here. Example, my 4K folder here, I double click that. I have my day clips and I have my night clips. I come to my 120p folder, I have my day clips and I have my night clips. In addition to keeping organized, what I like to do is I like to have a stacked timeline. So this timeline here on the top is my main timeline. This is where I'm making my edits, my cuts, my grades, everything is on this timeline here. The bottom timeline here, this is where all of my selects are going to be. So what you're going to see is I have all of my frame rates pretty much down here, named in appropriate sequences here. So another tip I'd like to give you is to color code your footage. So example, if you have 4K nighttime stuff, I would keep that a different color than say your 4K daytime stuff. So you know exactly on your main timeline what different clips are as far as frame rates and how you can edit them. The next tip when making selects is to use in and out points. So example, zoom out of here. I double click this. I am in my source window here. And as you can see, if I hit I on the keyboard, that changes my endpoint to there, and it will also change the length of the clip here. And I can also go here and change my out point. And as you can see, it definitely changed the length of the clip there, but that will help make selects there. But also, let me Control Z that. What I'll do is I will make this a little shorter than what it is. I can drag, or I should be able to drag and drop this directly on the clip here just by clicking this and dragging and dropping there. Make your selects here using I for in and then O for out. That'll put these brackets here and give you the chunk of footage that you think is good for the video that you are making, and therefore you're not having a cluster of just long clips to go through. So the next tip I'm going to give you is when you're editing your video and you start to have any kind of lagginess or jittery footage or anything like that, you may want to change your playback quality to its lowest setting. So Instead of editing in full quality, I like to edit in 1/4 quality because that gives me the smoothest playback. Now, when you're exporting, it's going to export at full quality, so this is not going to affect your overall export. This is just for scrubbing during playback in the editing process. So the next tip I'm going to give you is to learn your keyboard shortcuts. The main keyboard shortcuts that I like to use, and I'll demonstrate down on this timeline here. The first keyboard shortcut that I recommend, keeping in mind is the cut tool. And you can remember that because it's the letter C, and it's going to look like this. That's going to allow you to slice your footage up at will. Control Z to undo any mistake. You can hit that a number of times to undo as many mistakes as you need to. I usually press V, the letter V, to get back to my select tool so I can make my drags and things like that. Another shortcut that I use is R for rate stretch when I'm trying to time remap my footage for a certain clip, whether it's slow motion or speeding a clip up. And of course, plus and minus on the keyboard allow you to zoom in and zoom out at will. So keyboard shortcuts, there's a lot of them. I would recommend looking them up on, say, Google and just getting a nice little keyboard template of what all the keyboard shortcuts are for Premiere or whatever software you are using. But these are the ones that I pretty much use the most. All right, so the next tip that I'm gonna give you guys is to import your main audio first before you import your music. This will allow you to kind of get your main layout, your main ruler down for your entire edit. By doing this, which leads into my next tip, you're going to want to use markers on your music. And to do that, that's the keyboard shortcut. We just talked about it, keyboard shortcut M for markers. So I'm going to go through this song here, and hitting M, I have the music track selected. I'm going to hit M. And it'll leave a marker every time you hit it. So that leaves markers on the music track, but you can also leave markers up here on the actual sequence itself. By doing that, you want to make sure that you click off of the music track, or else it'll leave markers on the music track, and then you'll be able to leave markers up here. That'll leave your markers up there. So there are pros and cons to having it on the track and also having it up here. So the benefit for me having it on the track is when I'm doing ripple deletes, these don't move. Where I've noticed when I've done ripple deletes up here, my markers will get all bunched together, and then my entire ruler for my entire video is kind of thrown out at that point. But a benefit of having them up here, and I'm going to zoom in to try to do this here. If I go up here and hold Alt and drag this out, I double click that, I can actually name this, say, let's just call it Drop 1. And you can change the color of it here. And now you have a label. So that was my next tip, is to label your markers so you know exactly where in your edit you are as far as where your clips are lined up. If I want to zoom out of here, I want to go to the intro, which starts there, or if I want to go to, say, nighttime, where my nighttime clips start, it'll take me straight there. Yeah, use labels, use markers. I believe that's 10 tips. With that said, my name is Malcolm Eugene, and of course, if you like this video, please leave a thumbs up down below. I'm gonna try to have 2 more of these, so hopefully 20 more tips for you guys. And of course, if you guys have more tips, leave them down in the description down below. With that said, have a great day, mate. What's up, guys? Make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. And of course, if you're viewing this on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know exactly when I'm posting next.